Hello and welcome once again to Boomer 11 Live. And today it is another derby of sorts, not just in the IPL, but here at Boomer 11 as well. It's CSK at their home ground against RCB at what is supposed to be their home ground as well.
What?
Yeah, I mean, look at
Ridiculous.
it's what I told you before the live. The whole world
No,
is
no,
CSK.
no. That is not how it works. It's
The
our
whole
home.
world
तुम
is
लोग आए
CSK.
हो तुम लोग आए हो
And
बस आके खेल के चले जाना. ठीक है. ठीक है.
wherever MS Dhoni plays, that becomes CSK's home ground.
I
But
agree.
anyway,
Certainly, only team who can disrupt having not the complete sea of red in Chinnaswamy is CSK. I don't think any
thank
other
you.
team does that. And that's
Of
the
course.
thing with MS Dhoni's pool. That's the man,
Yeah.
not the team. Not the team. Let me put it right there. It's the man.
I mean, Dhoni
Yeah.
is CSK, CSK is Dhoni. So, but yeah, as far as we know, the toss has already been decided, and RCB are going to ball first. It's probably the reason why Abel is so happy right now because remember,
Oh,
it's
Allah.
Chinnaswamy. It's such an easy place to be chasing because an absolute what do you say hellhole you would say for ballers. It becomes dewy. There's smaller dimensions to the ground, so it's going
Yeah.
to be very difficult table. So you reckon now RCB has the advantage finally in
I mean,
Chinnaswamy?
see, in Chinnaswamy, you have to say, regardless of what happens, that toss is such an important factor. And ultimately, it comes down to that boiling part, right? Which is the toss. As to when you win the toss, you get that slight bit of advantage. Okay, yeah, we are going to be batting second and we can chase any score down. And especially after the recent things which has happened in Chinnaswamy, especially of teams chasing down with such an ease, I think that's a big toss. And MS Dhoni also did say that, one of those grounds where you really feel like toss is such a big factor in Chinnaswamy. That's primarily because of the dew, and in the night, if it's a fresh surface, the ball does travel a lot, and it's a nightmare for bowlers.
Absolutely. But let's talk about some of the matches. I mean, some of the things that are going to be considered. Right. Let's start
Yeah,
right away with the fact that Faf du Plessis is come back. I mean, it's not obviously the first time we're going to be facing, but
yeah.
um, still no one. I mean, still no Josh Hazelwood. We were told he would be playing this match, but I think his Achilles injury is not making him 100% fit. But
Yeah.
now, in terms of the bowling attack, right, as you already mentioned, the dew might come in, it might not be easy. You reckon CSK is at slight disadvantage also because of the fact that I love Teju's comment there, Kaveri Derby. I think that's what it should be called. But
Yeah. Who wins
uh,
gets the water, guys.
I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that.
I just
Uh,
said water. I didn't say which water. Let me make it very
it's a
clear.
fire I don't want to stoke. And but yeah, you reckon now looking at both the bowling lineups, right? You reckon CSK is going to be at a slight disadvantage given the fact that they really depend on spinners, and it's going to be a little bit of a issue when it comes to gripping the ball with the dew.
I mean, I would say, thank you for that, couple. That's a sweet
Yeah,
comment.
absolutely.
But I think this surface, I'm not sure if it's a U surface which they had for that game against Delhi Capitals. If it's, I think it's a fresh surface in comparison with that. So I think there's something which you can expect called seam movement up front. Today was a humid day in Bangalore, if you were in
Yeah.
Bangalore, any parts of Bangalore. So I think the ball will move around a little bit. For Chennai Super Kings, I think it's about surviving that first 6 overs because someone like Ruturaj Gaikwad, a little bit of weakness, whatever he's got is that new ball, isn't it? Whether can he survive it against quality paces and especially against the left arm angle of Wayne Parnell as well. So that is such an important period for both Conway and Ruturaj Gaikwad. If they can survive that, then all of a sudden things become a lot more easier for Chennai Super Kings. Then the dew also will start settling in. Then Wandu Hasaranga, I don't think will be a lot of effect in tonight's game because Chennai Super Kings are generally good players of spin. So I don't think spin is one thing which is going to beat Chennai. If you have to beat
Yeah.
Chennai, it's going to be with pace bowling, and that's always been the case. All the teams who have outballed Chennai with good quality pace, and that's all you get that nose ahead. And for RCB, they do not want to concede next of 200 because even if it's 200, you back yourself to chase, but then the odds of chasing 200 every day is not a thing, right? You still might lose by 10 or a 5 runs, which is still a loss, right? It does not come down to losing the game by 50 or 60, but it might be a very close game in terms of that. So RCB will be hoping they're restricted to 180, 190. 190 is a very good total to chase down in Chinnaswamy, considering the weather and considering the ground dimensions. For Chennai Super Kings, very interesting. They've gone with Pati Rana. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
how he goes about it. A small ground. Now the again not the easiest place for him to make a comeback and play in this year's IPL. Should have been in. I thought he should have played in that leg in Chennai, so in Mumbai rather than having him put right here in Chinnaswamy. But you never know. He's a wily character. He could really trouble someone like a Virat Kohli or a Fab du Plessis up
Correct,
front.
absolutely.
I also heard he developed a slower ball like Malinga, which dips. So that's very interesting to see how he goes about it, because Virat Kohli has always liked to play players who are slinging action as well. Let me put it right there. So that's going to be interesting how he goes about it.
Absolutely. And I think the faster you ball, the faster you travel when it comes to Virat
Yeah.
Kohli. So I think, I mean, from me
My
personally,
family
I
is
get,
divided into two. My mom is Kannada and my dad is Tamil. Oh, that's nice. That's
yeah,
interesting to see. So I'd like to know which team do you support? Tell me about that, Teju. I mean, that's phenomenal. That's why you love India. That's why you love South India. All about
yeah.
South India is all about the mixture of cultures. It's very tough, when you have two South Indian teams playing, especially Bangalore, Chennai. It's like the hub, man. You have talked about every guy from Chennai is from Bangalore. It's like the biggest connecting destination out here.
And I mean,
5 hours
it's
journey.
also two metro cities so close by. So there's always
Yeah,
been
yeah, yeah.
that sort of rivalry, I would say. Not
People
very
in people in
violent
Karnataka
rivalry.
knows Tamil. People in
Yeah, exactly.
Tamil Nadu knows
It's always
Kannada.
been an
So
accumulation of culture. But I mean, for
yeah,
me, at least in my house, I know it works. My dad is okay supporting anyone who's not CSK because he's tired of
yeah.
seeing them win. But that's how it is. CSK keeps winning. Abel would himself know how tired he is of CSK winning.
I mean,
Um,
I should have really supported CSK if you are asking about it, because I'm born in Tamil Nadu myself. I've got close roots with Tamil Nadu. Because one part of my family was like they were settled in Tamil Nadu for longest period of time. So I should have been supporting CSK more than any other team. But then, as they say, time said, you choose one team and then
yeah.
you don't change with it. So loyalty is very important. You might change your wife, girlfriend, but never change your team.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I think that's the thing about that's the thing about sports. But you reckon for Royal Challengers Bangalore, the probably most important is going to be ensuring that the power play they don't lose more than a wicket, because this is the one team if Chennai gets Faf and Virat out quickly, you reckon they're going to be in a little bit of a turmoil, because that means someone like Glenn Maxwell and Dinesh Karthik have the requirement to now carry
Yeah,
this team throughout the 20 overs. So that is the
right,
way CSK will look to go, try and attack, get those two wickets of Faf and Virat, and then
right.
hope that they can keep the pressure on them, because Maxwell has come good in that one game, but you have to remember in that one game he walked in, there was no pressure on him because Faf and Virat had almost set the ground level, the ground. I mean, had hit the ground running, and that meant that Maxwell didn't have to do anything much but just build. But whenever we've seen that RCB have lost their openers quickly, seem like they've struggled, isn't it?
Yes, they have. That's one factor to consider with, and that is a major cap factor as well, because you want your middle order to do well. Teams have often done well in IPL. Have always had a strong middle order. If you have to win IPL, you need to have a middle order. As simple as that. Barring if you're Chennai of 2021, where you have Faf and Rutraj scored bulk of runs. So RCB will like to take a little bit of inspiration from there, because you have Faf here and you have Virat Kohli is also scoring a lot of runs. But even for Chennai, it's a similar case. If you have Rutraj and Devon Conway back home, uh, earlier on, then they're going to be also a little bit of a trouble, because Moeen Ali has had a horrendous season with the bat. But Ambati Raidu once again is hit and a miss. Ravindra Jadeja
Hmm.
is there, but is he the one who's going to save you all the time? So same, but both the teams have similar conundrums at this point, heavily reliant on their top two to really score bulk of their runs. And you have to say it can be a blessing and it can be also their biggest weakness. So for
Yeah.
RCB at least, when they're chasing, it's easier. You are still okay. You have a target in mind. You can calculate your chase accordingly. It's going to be
Hmm.
easier. But especially when batting first, you are still in a spot about that. So okay, should I be going for the 210, because RCB wasn't unable to defend 210 last match? So should I be going for the 220? So in order, when you're trying to do that, you shouldn't be stuck in two minds, right? You lose an early wicket. Oh my God! Now should I reduce the scoring a little bit? So this is going to be CSK's biggest issue as well. Similar with RCB, when they're going to chase, they would not want to lose, especially cluster of wickets. As you mentioned, Maxwell has not really come good. He looked good in the last match against Delhi Capitals as well. But Maxwell's biggest issue once again is going to be how he's going to tackle someone like Mahesh Dikshana here. How is he going to go against him? Because
Hmm.
against Varun Chakravarti, you saw him getting absolutely castled with that ball. So is he going to tackle the spinners in a way which he's going to be attacking, or is he going to be a little more circumspect in terms of choosing the right ballers? So, so that's about it for Maxwell. But I'm expecting something like Suyesh Prabhudesai to play today. Extremely good player of spin. Did play a good knock against Chennai Super Kings in the last year's IPL as well. I'm expecting him to play at number 5 today. and see how it goes, because I'm expecting someone like him to really have that impact in a smaller ground. He has got a 360-degree game as well from whatever I've seen of him. So interesting to see how that goes.
I mean, let's talk about the one player, right, that everyone in Bangalore has come out to watch. That is not Virat Kohli, it's MS Dhoni.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, he is someone who loves playing against RCB. Just against RCB, if you look at his record, he scored close to 837 runs against them, the highest
yeah,
also tally that he has against any other team.
yeah,
MI is the second, which again, one of the best, one of the bigger rivals of CSK. But there's one bowler in RCB who he has struggled again. That's Harshal Patel. Harshal Patel has a very good matchup against MSB. So, but Harshal Patel again is not the Harshal Patel that we've known, right? He struggled a lot. However, we have to say one thing though, he is now able to finally get that ball to dip. We've seen that in the last innings as well, where he was last match of RCB, where he was getting the ball to dip finally. Now that is going to be a key battle, isn't it? I know Dhoni's probably not going to play more than 12 deliveries until
mm,
unless CSK really implodes. But otherwise, you feel this is a key matchup for both the teams because Dhoni's got an average of 12.5 for a strike rate of 78.1 against Harshal Patel in T20 cricket. So
yeah.
this is the matchup that I would really think would define how the match goes.
I don't think so, because Dhoni is coming to bat at number 8, and he's not really that impactful like the previous times. Yeah, as you mentioned, 878 runs. That was batting at number 5, number 6 for them. But here he's batting at number 8, and his leg is also not in the best of position to
Yeah.
pick those quick singles. So it's a different Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So I don't think that matchup is a relevant one in today's game, at least. But you never know. It depends on where Dhoni wants to bat, if at all. If there's a position where he wants to come in and finish things off, where Harshal Patel is going to be bowling, his entry point is going to be so crucial to decide where this game is going to be headed on to. So before we end the live, I would just say it's a very interesting game for that particular reason, as to how who's going to tactically outclass other, who's going to
Hmm.
choose the right moments in this game, who seizes those moments will go on to do well in this game. It could be any of those small moments. So it's about setting those small targets in today's game and seizing those moments, winning the power play, winning the 7-12, winning the 15-20. So those are the moments you have to capture, especially in a high octane clash like this.
Absolutely. Well, that's pretty much it from us. Then I think we are just 5 minutes away from the match to
Yeah, we can
begin.
cover maybe. Yeah,
Uh,
Suyash will bat, excited for him. Yeah, that's what I also. I think he's gonna bat. That's what Faf told, that he's got some trick up his sleeve. I don't know what is that trick, but I hope it's
Probably
not.
also because he's a left-hander batter. I think they'll be looking to use him as a way to go
He's a
after
right-hander.
bowling the middle jump.
He's a
Is he
right-hander.
right-hander?
He's a right-hander.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's a
Well, I think
right-hander.
I'm way too much
So if
spent.
that's the case, then Anuj Rawat is a left-hander choice.
I would
Would say.
love to see Anuj Rawat come out once again. One of my favorite players from RCB. I think he is an impact player for sure.
See, I'll
Um,
tell two things, right? The
yeah.
criticism he's receiving is fair, but he can't be blamed solely, right? You're playing him in positions which he's not used playing in. He's a top order bat, and you're playing him at number 8. How is that going to help anyone at the end of the day? It's a loss for both the parties.
I think
So
it
that's why I
definitely
think,
will help us able
yeah,
CSK.
it only helps the opposition team at the end of the day. It's
Yeah.
bad
We,
tactical
we
calling,
want
which
to
I
see
did not,
him as
which I'm
clear
very,
impact
which I'm
player.
very surprised to see from Mike Hessen. It's a very defensive call rather than anything. It's not an attacking call at all. It's a very
Yeah.
defensive call to stop a collapse. When you're an absolute point of bother, you're trying Anuj Rawat. So the moment you see Anuj Rawat's bat, you should know that RCB is out of the game completely. Last match also you saw that RCB is almost out. The game against KKR also you saw he came into bat in a situation where RCB is done and dusted. So I really do
I
not
think
have a lot of
last match
expectation.
he was a terrible choice, wasn't it? I think that's where you have to be a little.
And to
I
add to
believe
this,
even that
Darren,
Mike Hessen is
he's
a
now got a
little.
lot of range as well. His range is extremely limited from square leg to mid
I
wicket
know. I
as well.
think what the issue here is, Abel, I think Mike Hessen is a little insecure about the lack of your batting depth, and that's the reason why I think Anuj Rawat is being sent there. So if I genuinely believe if that's the case, then you can probably even try push a Maipa Lomro down the order. He can do a better job there. Rather,
Absolutely,
send
absolutely,
him
I
in number
agree.
three. If that's really
If
the
you
issue.
wanted a left-hander, why aren't you playing Manoj Bandange from Karnataka? What a
Hmm.
phenomenal season he had with the bat. You're striking at 117 smack. He scored some 70 of 40, 20 balls once, or 70 of 40 balls, 65 of 22 balls. So he's been in exemplary form. He's a left-hand bat. He can ball a little bit. So you go for Manoj Bandange instead. He can bat in the lower order. He's been batting number 6, number 7 for Karnataka. So you play him there. He's a home ground boy as well. You saw how Vaishak went well. You can possibly try Manoj Bandange there if you're
Yeah.
just looking at a left-hand matchup. So that's why I'm personally a little baffled with Anuj Rawat getting the nod time and time again. But as long as it's going to pull off those runouts, I'm going to be very happy.
Yeah, but not everyone is a Prithvi Shoaib. Well, having said that, the first ball is about to come on, so I'll just we'll all let you guys go, and we'll be
Yeah,
back with a cheerful Abel or a cheerful me. It's either one today. There's no
absolutely.
second ways. Yeah. Well, we'll also be back with Sandibani, who will be very happy either way. So,
Yeah,
having
yeah,
said that, thank you guys for joining us, and make sure you've made your team in Boom 11 by now. If not, quickly go and submit it. I think the deadline is over, if I'm not wrong, by
yeah.
now.
It's a few seconds
Uh,
left.
yeah, so quickly, with having said that, thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and we'll be back soon with the post match.